Hello and welcome to Verbal to Visual. Today I would like to share a personal follow-up to the last video that I made. In that video I shared some ideas about how to do some reflecting on the past year and some planning for the year to come. And as a follow-up to that video, I would like to share my own annual review. Take a look back at my 2018, as well as what I'm planning for 2019. And to help me look back and then look forward, I use this 3-bucket framework. Thinking about contribution, the work that I put out into the world, hopefully to make it a little bit better. Connection, the ways in which I'm building relationships with other people. And vitality, how I'm taking care of my mental, physical, and emotional well-being. The idea here is that if you neglect any of these buckets, if you don't contribute to any one of these, then you're essentially going to be poking holes in all of them. That neglecting one will have a negative impact on your life as a whole. So with that as our framework, first I will respond to the prompt 2018 was the year I, and we'll follow that up with 2019 will be the year I. Those are the 2 prompts that I encourage you to spend some time considering in your annual review. So let's start with that contribution bucket in 2018. Here at Verbal to Visual, I published 41 new sketchnoting videos here to this YouTube channel as well as on Facebook. If you look back on those 41 videos, you'll see some differences in style, some experimentation in the format here. But with each of those videos, I've tried to explore a particular idea related to sketchnoting, how you might build your sketchnoting skills, or some examples of how you might use your sketchnoting skills. I hope that you enjoyed those videos because I did enjoy making them. And if you're interested in checking out the most popular of those videos, check out the links below to a new post that I created called The Top 10 Sketchnoting Videos of 2018. In addition to making and sharing these weekly videos, I also created 2 new online courses. First, I launched a course called Learn a New Language with Sketchnotes, which took a deep dive into how you might use your visual note-taking skills to help you learn a foreign language. That was a really fun intersection to explore because I think the 2 go really well together. The way that sketchnoting activates the visual parts of your brain and the verbal parts of your brain simultaneously makes for a pretty powerful language learning tool. And from there, I created and launched a second resource, this one called Build an Online Course with Sketchnotes. Throughout the entire process of creating the language learning course, I was having weekly conversations with 3 internet friends of mine who were also building online courses and using Sketchnotes to help with the development and delivery of their course. Those webinar workshops resulted in stage 1 of that resource, Build an Online Course with Sketchnotes, and I'm now in the process of finishing stage 2, creating more polished video lessons and resources for any of you who might be interested in building your own online course, using Sketchnotes as a primary tool. With that trio there, I feel pretty good about my contribution bucket in 2018. I spent quite a bit of time and energy filling that bucket this past year. But that bucket has never really been a problem for me. It tends to be the other 2 that I occasionally neglect. So let's take a look at how those went, starting with connection. The biggest news from this past year is that I got engaged. Later this year, I will be marrying a wonderful woman named Shelby, and I couldn't be more excited about that. This past year, I also added a new piece to my weekly routine. I established a weekly co-working session with my good friend Austin, who has been a regular collaborator here at Verbal to Visual. We meet up at a coffee shop each week, chat about the creative projects that we're each working on, and spend a good chunk of time, each of us plugging away on our own individual project. Those weekly co-working sessions have been a great opportunity to not only refill my creative energy tank, thanks to that in-person connection, but it's also been a great time to get some solid work done at the end of the week. And it gives me a good amount of momentum moving into the next week. This past year, I was also more intentional about putting energy into family and friendships. Sometimes it's hard for me to actively reach out to others and foster those family relationships and friendships, but I think this past year I got a little bit better at doing that. And I hope to keep that trend going in this next year. Because of those three pieces, I feel like I've also done a decent job of filling the connection bucket in 2018. Let's turn to that third and final bucket of vitality. As a follow-up to a previous year's theme of mindfulness, in 2018, I reestablished a daily meditation practice. I've got a dedicated space in my home where I do that meditation and a time that I set aside as well, 9 a.m. after I've had the chance to wake up, get some breakfast, have some coffee, and do a little bit of work. Following up that morning work session with a 20-minute meditation has been really helpful in fostering mindfulness throughout the rest of the day. And since most of the challenges related to doing creative work are mental and emotional, for me, I found it to be very impactful to strengthen that mindfulness muscle. I also stopped drinking entirely in the middle of this past year. After going through a handful of cycles of fairly heavy drinking, followed with light drinking, then heavy drinking, then light drinking, over the past 3 or 4 years, I realized it was time for me to just cut that out of my life completely. And though that has been at times challenging, especially in a place like Portland, Oregon, with a strong craft beer culture, the cutting out of alcohol has had a very positive effect on my daily mood and energy levels. I also tweaked my exercise routine this past year. I've now got a 3-day cycle that I really enjoy. I'll go for a run one day, do some yoga the next, sometimes at a local studio, sometimes using YouTube, shout out to Yoga with Adrian, and on the next day I'll do some simple strengthening with push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. The day after that, I will get the cycle going again with a run. What surprised me about this 3-day cycle is how good my runs feel. As a cross-country and track runner in college, it was easy for me to feel like I should run every day or at least every other day. But now that I'm in my early 30s, it seems to be the case that a couple days of rest from running with some other lighter exercise is the perfect recovery time that helps me feel strong and refreshed the next time I make it out. And with those as the primary ways I'm addressing my physical, emotional, and mental health, I'm feeling pretty good about how I filled that vitality bucket this past year. And what's exciting for me as I look back at 2018 from a more holistic perspective is that this is the first time that I've ever done a good job of filling all three of these buckets. It has taken about 5 years of doing these annual reviews and using this 3-bucket framework to get to this point. And there's no guarantee that those 3 buckets will stay filled going into the future. It's on me to continue putting time and energy into each of those buckets. And that's what I plan to do in 2019. When it comes to connection and vitality, my goal is simply to maintain the good habits that I established in 2018. So here I'd like to focus on what I plan to add to the contribution bucket. First, I will continue making and hopefully improving these weekly videos. I very much enjoy creating these as part of my weekly work routine. I like digging into a new sketchnoting topic each week, and for now at least, I'm enjoying the style that I've landed on here. A little bit more of a stripped down approach, just a single frame, using only a black marker, and improvising this narration rather than scripting it. And as I think about the videos that I'd like to make in the year to come, I see 2 primary categories. The first being how-to videos, in which I will teach a specific sketchnoting skill. Things like how to sketchnote a book, or how to build your drawing skills. There are plenty of individual sketchnoting skills worth digging into, as well as specific applications to explore. So I'm excited to continue making those how-to videos, and I hope you continue to find them valuable. The second category is more sketch notes of. And with that category, I'm using sketchnoting to highlight an impactful idea or set of ideas. An example of that type of video is the visual summary of the book Essentialism that I published late last year. I really enjoy those videos as a way to explore in depth the ideas that I'm coming across in the books I'm reading and the podcasts I'm listening to. And my hope is that you find those ideas interesting and applicable in your life, but even when that's not the case, they'll still be demonstrating specific sketchnoting techniques that you might be able to steal and use in your sketchnotes. Another thing that I'll be doing this year to fill that contribution bucket is improving the resources that I've already made. For the first time in many years, I'm not planning to build a new course this year. Instead, I want to revisit all of the courses that I've already made and look for ways to make them better. Right now, I feel really good about the library of courses that we have in place here at Verbal to Visual. And I think it's a good time to look back and do some maintenance work that might not be as exciting as creating something new, but that hopefully makes those courses more impactful, more helpful in the lives of the people who decide to pick them up. Though I won't be building a new course this year, I am still starting something new. This year, and in fact, next week, I'm launching a new podcast. I've gotten in the habit of keeping a daily business log. At the end of each workday, I quickly jot down the things that I worked on, the ideas that I came across, and any insights that might have cropped up. At the end of the week, I've been looking back at those daily business log entries and doing a bit of reflecting. And it's within this new weekly podcast that I will be sharing those reflections on what it's looking like for me to build a sustainable creative career. So this podcast will not exist under the umbrella of Verbal to Visual because it's not specifically about sketchnoting. Instead, it's for people who are also in the process of building their own creative career. If that sounds interesting to you, then stay tuned because next week's video here on Verbal to Visual is going to be all about that podcast. I've already recorded the first few episodes and I can't wait to share them with you. So, those are some of the highlights of my 2018 and some of my plans for 2019. If you have not already done so, I encourage you to do this reflecting and planning for yourself because I think it will help you to be more intentional about how you spend your time every single day. And I hope that seeing these concrete examples from my life have been a helpful case study. I wish you the best of luck with whatever goals you set for yourself in 2019, and I'll be here each week sharing some new ideas about sketchnoting and about building a sustainable creative career if those happen to be relevant to your goals. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Till then.